A settlement announced today in the contentious divorce between Johnny Depp and his wife Amber Heard. Heard withdrew her allegations that Depp had been physically abusive toward her. Comes one day before a restraining order hearing was scheduled to begin. Today, the couple released a joint statement saying in part, quote, neither party has made false accusations for financial gain. Amber wishes the best for Johnny in the future, end quote. Heard had filed for divorce in May.
Mr. Scamander, do you think Dumbledore will mourn for you?
That was consistent with your understanding. She was referring at least in part to Johnny Depp, correct?
Yeah, based on my review of prior drafts of the op-ed, I knew that there were that she was referring to Johnny Depp and her marriage.
Robin, her lawyers omitted the below, but Amber would love to see a way to have that part in bold somehow put back in. Is there an artful way to do that? Otherwise, she is okay with the final. 2 years ago, I sought a temporary restraining order from my then husband. Ellipsis was changed to 2 years ago after successfully acquiring a temporary restraining order, but still not cleared by her lawyers. Do you see that?
I do.
Is that consistent with your understanding about what Ms. Heard's desires were?
Yeah, I trust Jessica White's relationship with Amber so that when Jessica told Robin that was something Amber wanted, I have no reason to think that that's not correct.
This is what happens when Hollywood takes over the High Court. A-lister actor Johnny Depp, who spent the last 30 years walking the red carpet, still managed to play to the crowd as he began his libel action against the Sun newspaper's publishers. The case revolves around his ex-wife Amber Heard and an article in The Sun which described Depp as a wife-beater, something he strenuously denies.
And I now place my faith in British justice.
And on Judgment Day, British justice delivered in Amber Heard's favour. This morning, Johnny Depp lost his libel trial against The Sun after they branded him a wife-beater.
Whew. It's a defamation case. It is Johnny Depp versus his ex, Amber Heard. And in this case, it all starts and is based upon something that Amber Heard said in an op-ed from the Washington Post, where she said, "I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change." That was something that was published in the Washington Post back in 2018. Now, in this article, she doesn't name her ex, Johnny Depp, but Johnny Depp is alleging that is the statement that defamed him, that ruined and destroyed his career. He lost Pirates of the Caribbean. He lost other parts, amounting to millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars. You know, in defamation cases, the number one defense to defamation, there are many of them, but the first one is the truth. If what I said was true, I cannot defame you. You can't sue me for defamation. You can't win if what I said was true, and that's what she's saying. Everything she said was true. Johnny Depp saying, no, it's false. You knew it was false, and you did it to ruin my career. You knew exactly what would happen. This trial's happening in April. It's coming up in just a few weeks.
You've never seen Amber do something that you would call physically violent or an assault of Mr. Depp, correct?
Other than when I testified that she threw a water bottle or a plastic cup in his direction.
But that, you wouldn't consider that physically violent or an assault of him, correct?
Well, in California, it's assault if you go to attempt to swing or throw something at somebody, even if you don't hit them.
Did you ever observe anything that made you concerned for Ms. Heard's safety?
Objection, foundation, and leading.
I'll allow it if you can answer it. That's fine.
I did not.
What, if anything, did you observe that made you concerned for Mr. Depp's safety?
From the injuries I saw on his face when, on a few occasions, I took photos of him.
Any time, including that night, did you ever see Mr. Depp strike Rocky Pennington?
No.
That evening, did you see Mr. Depp smash bottles of wine?
No.
Did you see him break furniture?
No.
Did you see him kick a hole through a solid door?
No.
But you've never seen Johnny hit Amber?
That's correct, and I've affirmed it to everybody that I've spoken to. I've been explicit about that.
And you've never seen Johnny hit any woman?
Correct.
Did you ever notice anyone visiting Amber Heard at night while Mr. Depp was away?
During the time that I was living there?
Yes.
Yes.
On how many occasions?
I wouldn't even be able to estimate.
Was it more than 10?
Yes.
Was it more than 20?
Yes.
Was it more than 30?
Yes.
Was it more than 50?
Again, I can't really speculate. I was there for quite some time.
When did that?
Mr. Steins, I'm going to ask you to take a look at exhibit number 24. Okay. Do you recognize the person in this photo?
Yes, Amber Heard.
Okay. Do you perceive there to be an injury or evidence of injury on Amber's face in this photo?
No, I do not.
What is your perception of the redness on the cheek and the eyelid and above the eyebrow?
It's consistent with observed. Her crying, she's fair skinned, her face is flushed.
Did you perceive any signs of injury on her face or anywhere else on her body that was visible to you?
No.
What did you determine this call was after your investigation?
Dispute, a verbal dispute. It's not against the law to argue. I argue in my life.
Are you able to testify whether Amber Heard was the victim of domestic violence by Mr. Depp on May 21, 2016?
Based on our investigation, it appeared as if she was not.
Did you notice any marks on her face when you were speaking with her?
No.
Did you see any bruises?
No.
Did you see any redness?
No.
Did you notice any swelling?
No.
Did it look like Miss Heard was wearing any makeup?
No. His family has been completely wrecked by all of this stuff, and it's not fair. It's not right what she did and what happened for so many people to get affected from this. It's insane.
And Mr.
What is that a picture of?
It is Amber at a slate profile in the same courthouse room. Her hair is behind her ear. You can see a picture of a bruise on her cheekbone. She looks like a skeleton.
Did you take this picture?
Yes.
Did you ever witness Mr. Depp throw anything at Ms. Heard?
No.
Did you ever witness Mr. Depp kick Ms. Heard?
No.
Did you ever see Mr. Depp physically injure Ms. Heard, cause her an injury?
I didn't see it.
So that's a no, right?
I didn't see it.
Turning to the staircase incident in March 2015, you testified that Mr. Depp allegedly hit you during that incident, right?
Yes.
But you weren't sure if that contact was even meant for you, right?
I honestly don't. I don't know what he was aiming for. My back was to him.
And you weren't injured during that incident, right?
No, I wasn't.
And you didn't seek medical attention?
No.
And you said Debbie Lloyd was there during all of that, correct?
She was.
And Mr. Depp's security, Travis McGivern, was there too?
Yes, he was.
And you saw your sister hit Mr. Depp on the stairs that day, right?
After he struck me, yes.
You said she landed one, right? And then the next day you found some damage in the adjoining penthouse.
Correct.
And we saw some pictures of what you saw that day, right?
Yes.
You thought it was important to document that damage, right?
Not to document. It was Kevin's job to kind of clean up the houses, take care of the houses. I took pictures just so he could be aware of what he would need to bring. I didn't know if he had tools here or whatever. I was just preparing him for what he was going to have to fix.
But you didn't take any pictures of your sister that day, right?
No, I didn't.
Now, after March 2015, You continued to have a close relationship with Mr. Depp, right?
Yes.
And you still loved him.
Of course.
And you were there for him if he needed you, right?
Of course.
And in fact, just a couple of weeks after that staircase incident, you were still acting as the marriage counselor, weren't you?
At some point, sure.
You know who Jennifer Howell is, right, Ms. Enriquez?
I do.
She's the founder of the Art of Elysium nonprofit.
She is.
And you worked there for a time, didn't you?
I did.
Around May 2015, you actually moved in with Ms. Howell, right?
May 2015? Yes.
And you moved out of the penthouses because at that point you and your sister were fighting, right?
It was around the time that, he had accused me of leaking stories, and that was the impetus of me leaving.
And you testified earlier, I think, that he had asked you to sign an NDA, right?
At some point.
And that was around the same time that he was concerned you were leaking stories about their wedding to the media?
I believe so.
You and Ms. Howell were close?
We were.
Close enough that you lived with her for around a year?
I don't recall if it was that long.
And you confided in Ms. Howell, right?
About some things, yes. She was my friend.
You called her your chosen sister? Ms. Enriquez, you claim to have seen signs of injuries on your sister during the course of her relationship with Mr. Depp, right?
Yes.
But you never witnessed any incidents that resulted in visible injuries to your sister, right?
Other than the staircase incident? I witnessed that incident. What are you asking me exactly?
You never witnessed any incidents that resulted in signs of injury that you were concerned about over the course of their relationship?
Other than the staircase incident, I did witness that.
No, at no other time when you...
No, that was the only time that I saw him.
And you didn't see what caused any of the injuries you claim to have seen during the course of their relationship, right? Other than the staircase incident.
Yeah, the staircase incident is the only one that I saw.
But you have seen your sister land a blow on Mr. Depp, right?
That was the time, yes, after he hit me.
Why did you send this email and letter to Ms. Enriquez?
Because I've struggled very much with what to do in a situation that I love someone who I know is doing something very wrong, and I know that they're doing it because they're trying to protect their sister, and I'm trying to protect her, and I'm just trying to get her to wake up and do the right thing, which is tell the truth. It's the only thing that can help everybody involved in this case.
Ms. Howell, do you recall submitting a witness statement in the United Kingdom?
Yeah, they basically just called to verify the witness statement that was submitted previously.
Client had visible bright red blood appearing at center of lower lip. When RN made client aware that she was actively bleeding on her lip, client stated it was from injury sustained in the, and then it's blank. You see that? And then we can keep going down in the argument between her and her husband, and that it continues to bleed actively. You wrote that?
Yes.
And then you also wrote, clients also states that her head is bruised and that she lost clumps of hair in altercation. You wrote that?
I assume so. It's in my notes.
Okay. And then you wrote, RN briefly looked at client's scalp but was unable to visualize the hematomas client had described.
Correct. Ms. Heard stood approximately 3 feet away from you. I did not notice any bruises, cuts, swelling, red marks, or any other injuries of any kind on Ms. Heard's face. Do you see that? Correct. Okay.
Sometime in the bathroom, she was on the phone again to the point where the cabin crew had to sort of tap on the door and say, we need to leave now. Everybody needs to sit down.
At any point, did you observe anything about Miss Heard physically on that flight?
Yes, I did. Right toward just before we landed, I noticed some marks on her arm, her left forearm.
How would you describe those?
Long, kind of uniform, evenly spaced, sort of long, thin marks. Very uniform, in fact.
And when did you first notice those?
On the plane towards coming into land, we're gathering the stuff up. I noticed them then. To be honest, I did sort of say finally, so what happened? Obviously referring to the house. And I mean, she didn't give much explanation, if any. She did say, Ben, have you ever been so angry with someone you just lost it with them? And I sort of said, no, actually, I'm pretty calm, even-tempered guy. But she did repeat it. She looked pretty incredulous that I hadn't, and she repeated it. You mean you've never lost it with somebody, got so angry with someone you just lost it with them?
While you worked for Ms. Heard, did you ever see any types of injuries on her?
No.
Did you ever see any cuts?
No.
Did you see bruises?
No.
Did you see swelling?
No.
Redness in her face?
No.
How about Ms. Heard having black eyes?
Never.
A broken nose?
Never.
Missing hair clumps? Sorry, I didn't catch that. Ms. James?
Never.
This is Me Too without any Me Too.
I had a relationship with him.
Did there come a time when you and Mr. Depp had a romantic relationship?
Yes.
For how long, Ms. Moss, were you and Mr. Depp a romantic couple?
From 1993 to 1994 to 1998.
Ms. Moss, did there come a time when you, while you and Mr. Depp were a couple, that the two of you took a vacation together to the Golden Eye Resort in Jamaica?
Yes.
What, if anything, happened when you were in Jamaica with Mr. Depp?
We were leaving the room, and Johnny left the room before I did, and there had been a rainstorm, and as I left the room, I slid down the stairs, and I hurt my back.
How did you...
And
I apologize, Ms. Moss. Please continue.
And I screamed because I was because I didn't know what had happened to me, and I was in pain, and he came running back to help me and carried me to my room and got me medical attention.
Did Mr. Depp push you in any way down the stairs?
No.
During the course of your relationship, did he ever push you down any stairs?
No, he never pushed me, kicked me, or threw me down any stairs.
Let's look at some of that. Mr. Depp wears rings on every finger, doesn't he, Ms. Heard?
That's my experience, yes.
And they're not delicate rings, are they?
No, they are not.
Every one of his fingers is adorned, your words, big, chunky rings. Isn't that right?
That's my experience of him.
And Mr. Depp is always wearing rings, right, Ms. Heard?
That's my experience of him.
And you've never known him not to wear these rings?
That's my experience, is he normally wore rings, yes.
So Mr. Depp was wearing these big, chunky rings on every finger, every incident of abuse you've described to this jury, right?
I can't say for certain it was in every single incident.
But you've never known him not to wear rings, right?
In general, my experience with Johnny is that he wears rings almost all the time.
And hit you in the face so many times that you don't remember. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
And there's no injuries to your face in this picture, are there?
Not that this picture shows.
And there's no medical records reflecting that you sought treatment after this alleged incident either.
I did not seek medical treatment at this time.
So there's no medical records reflecting any injuries to your face after he hit you several times.
I did not need to go to the doctor at the time.
Despite hitting you several times that you lost count with rings on on his fingers.
That's correct. I did not seek medical attention, other than my therapist.
This is a picture of you and Mr. Depp at the event the night after Mr. Depp allegedly whacked you in the face so hard you thought he had broken your nose.
He did whack me in the face, and I did think it broke my nose.
And this is you the night after?
Yes, it is.
Ice will cover up swelling?
Ice reduces swelling. Normally the swelling after that kind of injury is not as bad as you might imagine, and for me, it wasn't that bad. I have a picture of it underneath the makeup. That's how I know how to reference it.
A picture you haven't produced or shown to this jury, right, Ms. Heard?
I produced everything.
But you haven't shown it to this jury?
I would very much like to. It's not my job.
Mr. Depp is your victim, isn't he?
No, ma'am.
And once he left you, you continued to abuse him publicly by calling him an abuser, didn't you?
He is an abuser, and you can look either of us up online and figure out who's being abused online.
Are you aware of any role or business opportunities that Mr. Depp lost as a result of the op-ed by Amber Heard in the Washington Post?
Okay.
Is there any other role or business opportunity that Mr. Depp has lost since you started representing him in October 2016? And I'm saying,
I would say his, I would say yes.
What?
The Pirates, the next Pirates movie.
What is your understanding of why Mr. Depp lost Pirates 6?
My opinion is that it was related to the accusations that Amber has made.
And what is your opinion based on?
Excuse me?
What is your opinion based on?
Conversations with colleagues and studio execs.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
Conversations with studios and other executives, both internal and external.
When you say related to the accusations that were made by Amber Heard against Mr. Depp, are you talking about accusations of domestic violence and abuse by Mr. Depp?
Yes.
Mr. Wiggum, had you seen other articles in the course of your duties as Mr. Depp's agent about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp?
Objection, Your Honor, still.
Yes.
House for Hearsay Foundation.
Allow it.
Thank you. How, if at all, was the op-ed different from other articles you had read about the Johnny Depp-Amber Heard relationship?
It was a first-person account coming from the victim. It's extremely impactful.
Impactful in a good or bad way?
With respect to Johnny, it was catastrophic because it was coming from a first-person account. It was not from a journalist. It was not from someone observing. It was from someone saying, "This happened to me."
After you learned that Disney was going in a different direction in early 2019 and no longer planned to use Mr. Depp, to what extent did you reach out to Jerry Bruckheimer or Sean Bailey?
A lot.
Did you reach out to Mr. Bruckheimer and Mr. Bailey jointly or separately?
Separately. I successfully made contact with them, but I was not successful in rescuing pirates for Johnny.
When was the last time you discussed Mr. Depp's role in Pirates 6 with Jerry Bruckheimer, Sean Bailey, or anyone else at Disney?
2019, I believe.
In addition to Pirates 6, did Mr. Depp lose any other films between December 2018 and October 20?
Yes. After the op-ed, it was impossible to get him a studio film, which is what we normally would have been focused on in that time period.
In your many interactions, thank you, Your Honor. In your many interactions with Mr. Depp, to what extent, if any, have you ever seen him lose his temper?
I never have, actually.
To what extent, if any, has Mr. Depp ever raised his voice in your presence?
No, he never has.
Mr. Wiggum, to what extent have you ever seen Mr. Depp engage in any violence?
Never.
Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand. And oh, someone will come running, and I know they'll take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, and when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look around. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found.
Implication about Mr. Depp is clear, i.e. that Ms. Heard is a survivor of domestic abuse and that Mr. Depp is a perpetrator. The context in the rest of the op-ed makes that clear as well. Consider, for instance, this line, quote, "Imagine a powerful man as a ship, like the Titanic. That ship is a huge enterprise. When it strikes an iceberg, there are a lot of people on board desperate to patch up holes, not because they believe in or even care about the ship, but because their own fates depend upon the enterprise," unquote. Everyone in Hollywood knew, and everyone in this courtroom now knows exactly what Ms. Heard intended those words to mean. The ship, the Titanic, is Mr. Depp, and Ms. Heard was the iceberg that sank him. That's precisely what Ms. Heard was saying in the op-ed. And in just the same way, everyone in Hollywood knew, and Hollywood and elsewhere knew exactly what Ms. Heard meant by the words, quote, "2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse," unquote. That was a clear reference to the day 2 years earlier, on May 27th, 2016. And as Ms. Vasquez said, that was 6 years to the day. That's when his life ended. That was 6 years ago to this day, when Ms. Heard, on May 27th, 2016, walked into court with her publicist, Jody Gottlieb, having tipped off TMZ, with an alleged mark on her face to accuse Mr. Depp of abuse. It is about restoring his lost reputation. It's about showing Mr. Depp's children, Lily Rose and Jack, that the truth is worth fighting for. It is.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
So the next demand
was that all of the community liabilities that were unresolved, approximately $13.5 million, that Mr. Depp had to pay those liabilities in its entirety. So at that point, she was demanding $14,250,000 of consideration, and then it got worse. The next demand was that all of this consideration be paid to her free of taxation. And counselor, for him to pay $14,250,000 to Ms. Heard, that would require him to earn approximately $30 million.
You cannot testify that Johnny Depp was not abused, can you?
I can testify that he had physical acts of violence perpetrated on him as well as psychological aggressive acts perpetrated upon him.
You can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and judge thinks. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and yes. It's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
All right, Mr. Foreperson, is this the verdict of the jury?
Yes.
All right, is it unanimous?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Jamie?
In civil case number CL 2019-2911, Mr. Depp's claim against Ms. Heard. 1. As to the statement appearing in the online op-ed entitled, Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. In the Washington Post online edition, quote, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change, end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. 2. As to the statement appearing in the op-ed entitled, A Transformative Moment for Women in the Washington Post print edition and the online op-ed, Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. In the Washington Post online edition. Quote, then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out, end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. 3. As to the statement appearing in the op-ed entitled, A Transformative Moment for Women in the Washington Post print edition and the online op-ed, Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. In the Washington Post online edition. Quote, I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse, end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes.
We ask you to please return your verdict for Mr. Depp. We ask you, we implore you to give him his name, his reputation, and his career back.
J'essaie de tourner la page, j'essaie de tourner la page, j'essaie de tourner la page. Oh, oh, j'essaie de tourner la page, j'essaie de tourner la page, tourner la page.
She's going to be filming a movie in France sometime this summer, I guess at the end of the summer.
and he's going to be playing Louis XV. They're filming at Versailles, from what I read. Louis the 15th, of course, is the predecessor to Louis XVI. So everybody's heard of him, maybe not the Louis XV.
He's also playing, he's got another movie that he's going to be playing that is super amazing and exciting that has not been announced.
Oh, tell us all about it.
I can't tell you anything about it. I'm just going to tell you
What?
something amazing's coming.
Okay, is this just the word on the street in Hollywood that there's some big amazing project coming?
It's not word on the street. It's inside scoop.
We encourage any victim to come forward. Domestic violence doesn't have a gender.
Why? Never had to happen. One little lie.